accomplished a lot. He was well versed with the law. He had studied at the best theologians. With the best theologians, he's at the feet of even Gamaliel. He was well versed in the law. He knew the law in and out. But one day Paul had an experience on the Damascus Road. And I'm so glad that God knows how to use what we know and cause it to work for him. Many people think that you have to be dumb, broke, and poor to be used by God. But there are people that are well educated, have all kinds of degrees by their name. God can use them and their knowledge. So even Paul now ran into God on the Damascus Road. God called the light to shine from heaven, and tonight what's his name? Saul, off of his feet, on the ground. He could not see for days. And then he began to talk to Saul. And then he began to tell Saul, why kickest thou against the prick? And many of us are in that place where God has knocked us out and knocked us down, trying to get our attention. Am I talking to anybody here? It can't get much worse than what it is right now. He's spoken to you through dreams, through prophets, through visions, through any means necessary. He has spoken to you trying to get your attention. And we need to stop kicking against the pricking that God has placed on our soul. Hold up. And if we recognize it takes a gracious God to keep on putting up with us while we rebel. But it comes a time and a point when God will let and will allow an extreme thing to happen to us that almost takes us to the point of death. And when we see death hovering over us, hopefully we'll have enough sense to come to ourselves. Who is this, Lord? We need to recognize when God is trying to get our attention. I don't have anybody praying with me today. We need to recognize when God is trying to get our attention and say, yes, Lord. Now this same Paul, after his conversion, began to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. I preached this morning from Romans 1:16. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to whoever believeth. And Paul began to say, now during this time, Romans church had disintegrated almost to nothing. And then here comes now the preaching of the gospel, something that the Jews didn't want to receive. But Paul said, I know the law and I know the grace of God. He said, I rather preach the grace of God. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. For what the law could not do, the law couldn't make him feel good. The law couldn't fill his heart with joy. The law couldn't change his outlook, change his mind. But he said, what the law could not do, God sent his son in the likeness of the flesh and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. And now since God has sent his son, Paul is preaching a new gospel that Jesus saves. The law can't save you, but Jesus saves. Because no matter Jesus saves. And now Paul says here, I'm not ashamed of this gospel. If I preach this gospel, I'm preaching healing. If I preach this gospel, I'm preaching deliverance. If I preach this gospel, I'm preaching salvation. If I preach this gospel, I'm preaching prosperity. And I'm preaching success. Whatever you need, when the gospel is preached, it's preaching a saving message to save you out of whatever you're in and to meet every need of yours. Isn't it mighty good of God to give us a word that meets every need of ours? Y'all let me preach here. So now Paul says, I gotta let go of everything. Because what's before me is much greater than anything I ever experienced. Not only did Paul had to let go of his bad side, but he had to let go of his accomplishments. Many of us are satisfied that we've been over the first Wednesday night back home hour state convocation service. We're satisfied that we've had an appointment. We're satisfied that somebody got saved through us. Well, heaven and heaven here. We're satisfied that we're faithful to God and faithful to the church. As long as we look at that as being an accomplishment, we can't see what God has laid up for us. It comes the time when we have to forget about even the best things you've done. Because it can become a diversion and a distraction. What happened here? You can't always shout on what you have done when God said, I got something greater. You can't always shout on how much you give and how you open the doors of the church, how you clean up the church, how you sing in the choir, how you read it well. You can't always shout on that when God is getting ready to shift you to a higher plane. Even what you have accomplished can be a distraction to you when God is getting ready to move you to a higher place. We learn how to acclimate or to attain a certain place in God and get comfortable there, trying to fit ourselves there and refusing to move higher. Do you not know that God is trying to find you a replacement when you go higher? You're trying to hold that same spot down, and God is moving upon you for another level of anointing, another level of power. You're trying to say, I got this down right here. This is me, I'm satisfied. But let me tell you something about God. When you do good with God, God gives you promotion. Yes, He will. Yes, He will. What happened here? Y'all not listening to me today. Now Paul says, here I am. Accomplished all these things, wrote 13 epistles in the New Testament. I got to stop thinking about that. Because I see something greater that's ahead of me. I can't get caught up in pride. I can't get caught up in low self-esteem. But I got to fix myself to set myself loose from everything. I don't need any weights right now. I don't need anything pulling at me, what Paul said. I don't need anything trying to distract me. I see something greater.